wake up to the same old fight, chasing shadows in the night. Promises made, but I let them fade. Caught in the cycle, I'm feeling betrayed. Round and round, I'm losing ground. Trying to break free, but I can't see. These negative patterns are haunting me. Nights turn to days, I'm losing my way. Thought I found peace, but it's led me astray. Chasing the high, but it only brings pain. The more I run, the less I gain.
Shit seemed pretty quiet right here, you ask me.
Black Mercedes, 2 guys. Roger that.
I'm thinking this gonna be my last one, fellas. After this, go legit.
Yeah, that's what you're here for. You get the paper, leave the dope. You hear me? Save the money!
Somebody's hitting the place. Let's go, let's go! Go!
We said leave the door, nigga!
Shit, man, I got the paper, let's go!
Hey! Hey! Get up, go! Get up, go! Get on this thing! Let's go!
If you're gonna be the father of our child, you have to get out of this street life or whatever it is that you're involved in. I'm serious. You have to.
Where's our goddamn money?
Rattle the dope.
Stash it before the uniforms come in. Use every source we have to find out who took our money.
Hey everybody, hey, and welcome to another session of Tarka Said Again. Today in the office, we have with us Mr. Len Gibson. Welcome, sir.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Let me tell you all, Len, Mr. Gibson, he is a writer, a producer, an executive, as well as an educator for the film industry. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Yeah, so he's degreed. I met this young man on the set. Yes, y'all, you know I've been, let's see, I don't even want to say
Been getting her
experimenting.
acting on. She's been getting her acting on,
Okay.
just
I've been getting my acting on, and I met Mr. Gibson, and just a kind, wonderful gentleman. Conversation, it aligned with some of the things I was discussing and talking about. And he just has been nothing more than, I would say, a gem, a wealth of knowledge and information as far as this new world that I've been experiencing here. So I invited him to join us today because, you know, we've been talking about entertainment here lately. And if he can give us some background information when we talk about producing movies and producing TV shows and what else?
events. We do live events. We do live talk shows. We do it all.
Well, let
So
me take it back a bit. Now, I noticed that you have a degree, a bachelor in English. Now, English, that's my passion. That's my major. English reading, we tie that all in when we talk about literacy. And I was like, okay, we can check that off. That's a commonality. And then you have an MBA in what, media?
actually, my MBA is in marketing.
Marketing.
So the concentration is in marketing.
Okay, concentration in marketing. And he's also a veteran.
Yep.
Thanks for your service, as always, I like to
You're so
say.
welcome.
Now there's one more degree. Now I have all those others, the bachelors and the masters or the MBAs, but this honorary, that's what I don't have. How can I obtain that? Because obviously you've been doing some big things out here in our community for you to even be recognized.
You know, the PhD came through, it was really just a nomination, right? By some other individuals in the business. When I say the business, the film and television business, I guess they thought that I was a worthy candidate, right? And
Obviously.
they voted, and, you know, I received a PhD, honorary PhD, along with a few other entertainment moguls, including my business partner, James J.B. Brown, with my film festival. But in essence, receiving a PhD has always been one of the things that's been on my bucket list.
Okay.
But, you know, just like anything else, right? You get busy with life and business and all that good stuff. And I said, you know what? At this point in my career, do I really need a PhD? But I guess, you know, it was in God's plans, right, for me to receive an honorary PhD. So
Exactly.
that happened. It was given to me through Trinity International University, and just proud to have it. I mean, other individuals like the great John Lewis, civil rights leader.
Yes,
Uh,
the good problem, right? The is
yeah,
it the good problem?
good trouble, good
Good
trouble.
trouble. Okay.
Yeah. So he received an honorary PhD from them. Dr. C.T. Vivian, who was another civil rights leader,
Hmm.
received the honorary doctorate from Trinity International University. And then on the day that I received mine, my good friend, Dr. Carl Gilliard, who's you know, an acclaimed actor, producer, director,
Hmm.
with me, and you know, another one of my legendary, you know, friends, Mr. Bill Duke. He received his as well. So in good company. So always proud to say that, you know.
Yes, definitely. And as you already said, it's an honor to be recognized from others that's in the industry with you. So we're going to clock that, as the younger generation says. I also heard a birdie shared with me that you started back with Spike Lee and his company, the 40 Acres and a Mule, right?
That's correct. I did. I landed an internship with 40 Acres, you know, right out of college, and just
That
kind
was
of took
big.
that opportunity.
That was big. I'm sorry. If you're not saying it's big, I'm saying that was big because, growing up, that's all you basically saw. When we talk about the black culture, right? Spike Lee, all of this, doing the right thing, and Malcolm X, and what is it? He got game, Crooklyn, like all of those type movies. That's what we saw on our TV, growing up. Yeah, that's major, sir.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It was a good time. I learned a lot, you know, built some phenomenal relationships. And I say today, I wouldn't be where I am in this business if it wasn't for that opportunity, because I was going a different direction in the,
Hmm.
excuse me, the business, and decided to focus more on film and media because of that training and that relationship building that I was able to do, you know, through 40 Acres.
Got you. All right. Being on set, right? In the various movies that you have taken part in, and I definitely want you to, throw out a few of those, especially the one that we just met on, Two Preachers on a Mission. What do you think is most challenging part, like when trying to bring the project to life?
That's a good question because there are various challenges, right, as it relates to bringing a project to life. I think it depends on, to me, it depends on what phase you are at that particular time when you asked that question. Now that you're asking me this question, and I look back on various projects, we'll use Two Preachers on a Mission as an example, since that's the project that you met me on, right?
Right.
I think the biggest challenge for that particular project was the management of so many cast members in a small amount of time with a micro budget,
Okay.
right? That's, I know those are a few things, but it's really the management of 50 plus cast members, which is a lot of people when you talk about a small independent film,
Yes.
right? Most independent films, you ask a director or a producer, the answer is going to be when the question is asked, how many cast members, they normally going to say, 15, 20, 25, 50
Okay.
is a lot,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So that's that's really a huge feat for an independent film, and it was a lot.
Mhm.
It was challenging, but we made it happen. So.
And that's what it's all about, making it happen. Talk about a moment on set that reminded you of why you do this work. And I say that I find this being one of my favorite type questions because as an educator, at times it can be challenging, right? The kids don't want to act right. They coming in with attitude or whatever the case is, just don't feel like being bothered. Not necessarily that you did anything to them, but it could have been something that happened before you, right? But it's those moments in the classroom where they have those aha moments, those revelations that remind you of, okay, this is why I get up every morning to come teach these bad kids, as to say, right? So for you as a film producer in this industry, what do you say your moment is?
The moment has always been an individual that approaches you on set, off set, because of the project, because of the experience, and say that their lives were impacted in a positive way because of the project. And it can be so many different things that they were impacted with or because of as it relates to the project. For example, on Two Preachers on a Mission, I won't call him out, I won't say his name, but one
Okay.
of the individuals that was a crew member on the project, we met him, meaning when I say we, my business partner and I, Wayne Overstreet and myself, we
Mm-hmm.
met this young man about a year and a half ago at a networking event at an accounting firm. We met him, and he was just, you know how people stand out in rooms, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have an opportunity to hear people talk and explain their vision, their passion in terms of what they're trying to do in life. And this young man expressed himself in such a way that Wayne and I said, you know what, he's somebody that we should look at mentoring or assisting at some point. And you get busy, but one thing that I try to do is maintain contact with people and individuals that I feel that I can impart some type of knowledge, or that it's maybe something that they can bring to me, right? Or give me in terms of knowledge or assistance or a skill set that they can give that I can utilize, etc. But this young man stood out, and we stayed in touch. Periodically, he would reach out. He would say, "Hey, Len, Wayne, how are you guys doing? What are you working on?" And we would say, "Okay, this is what we're doing. We don't have anything right now, but we'll keep you in mind." And when Mike Ben, who's the writer and star of Two Preachers on a Mission, when I say approach, Mike has been on us for years for this movie, and we finally did it. But when we decided that we're going to move forward with it, finally, and we were trying to figure out who our team was going to be, we said, you know what, let's give this young man an opportunity if he's available. It's like, let's just ask him. We asked him, and before we could get the words out, he was like, yes, I'm on board, I'll do it. And he gave his all, and we really appreciated that. But the thing This is a long answer, but the thing I think that stood out to me from him was the fact that he appreciated the opportunity in such a
Mhm.
way that it motivated him to move other projects that were stagnated forward. He said at the end of production and even at the rap party that he truly appreciated the opportunity that we gave him because we showed him that regardless of where you are, what you have, there's a way to move your project forward. And you just have to dig deep and just do it. And for me, that meant a lot because it's so many of us out here that find excuses not to get stuff done.
Right.
Right. And, we can all find excuses not to do something. We can find excuses not to get out of bed in the morning. We can
Exactly.
find an excuse for anything. But at the end of the day, you can also find an answer and a reason to do it. And you can find a solution. And I think that being that we were able to work with him on a micro budget and we showed him some things that he may have not experienced or learned, he saw solutions to some of the things that he's currently faced with, and he can move forward with getting those things done. So that's the reason I do what I do. When I can open up doors like that, when I can impart knowledge, I can, do anything to help someone, take their career to the next level.
And I appreciate that long answer, as you say. It's called elaboration. And listen, everybody don't have the art of elaborating. But again, talking about that moment, I'll say how you all made me feel on set and welcome. I'll definitely say shout out to Michael and yourself and your partner, Wayne. Y'all were friendly and made me feel comfortable on set. That was something that I had never done as far as being on set, of a movie. Did little extra Lion King years ago, but you didn't have that firsthand experience with the producers. They're, I guess you would say, behind the scene, or they're not out there mingling and conversing with others. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that that's a good characteristic that you all have. And it goes back to building those relationships, as you mentioned. So I say, stay who you are.
Thank you. Definitely try.
So, how do you handle creative differences, right? Because you've had different projects that you worked on, and I'm sure there were some differences where everybody may not have agreed. So, in handling those differences while still trying to, say, maintain the integrity of the project or the movie, how did you do that?
Wow. Creative differences can be an accelerant or a deterrent, right?
Okay.
The thing is, I think as it relates to creative differences, it's how you handle them,
Yeah.
right? Because and it's who the creative difference is with as well, because it's a difference between having a creative difference with a big studio and having a creative difference with another producer or an actor or a director on set or even in preparation of a project. But I think the core value of a creative difference for me, in terms of what I've dealt with in my career, has always been simply expressing myself to the point where I'm showing why I feel the way that I do about a project. A lot of times, just like any other, argument or disagreement, a lot of times people, they have a disagreement about something, but what are you truly disagreeing about, right? When it comes down to it. And why do you feel the way you do? A lot of times people fail to make that point known. So, for example, I'll give a good point. We had a film that we were working on, and we were talking about shooting a scene in an interior location, right?
Okay.
And we were trying to determine if we were going to use one house or the other. right, to shoot this particular scene. And the director wanted one house because the houses look better.
Mhm.
Production value was beautiful. It made more sense. It looked better. It just made more sense from that practicality.
Mhm.
But my argument was, while it looks better, we're gonna have less time to shoot it because the owners wouldn't allow us to use it beyond a certain time. Two, it's gonna cost us more money. Three, we're not gonna have full use of the house to be able to maneuver and do what we need to do as it relates to cast. So, which means that we would have to rent another facility as base camp for cast. So, for me as a producer, I'm looking at the business behind it all. It's
Yeah,
more than the creative. It's like the dollars and the cents, right?
correct.
Especially your dollars and cents, right? So it's the creative, regardless, is always associated with money. And you have, I think for me as a creative, I use both sides of my brain, the left and the right, right? So I may I may want to blow up a car in a movie, but the reality is, can I afford to blow up a car in a movie,
Right.
right? Or can I use AI? Can I use special effects? Or how much that's going to cost? Or do I just decide to run that car into a tree? And that may be too expensive. But the bottom line is it's the creative and the money, and then it's also how to communicate the way I feel and what this issue is compared to whoever the opposition is, right? But in this particular case with the house, I won the argument because we were writing the check. So at the end of the
Right.
day, that's what it's all about. But to that point, the director truly understood where I was coming from once I was able to show him in writing and with true examples of why we needed to use this other location. It's like you're gonna have 4 hours less to do what you need to do, and you have more restraint. So tell me how that makes sense. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it really
definitely.
comes down to practicality. It comes down to practicality and being able to communicate effectively. That's what it's all about. Communication and being able to express yourself in such a way that whoever you're trying to negotiate with, they truly understand where you're coming from. And you're not going to win every time, but at the very least, you can get your point across in terms of why you want something done a certain way.
And again, just going back to when I was speaking of, characteristics or your character and you just being concerned as far as the project and not just ready and willing to spend money, you actually are concerned for the budget, but getting the best quality out, right? But on a budget. So those are just some genuine concerns that I like, to hear from various ones that you work with, because people could just be trying to get your money. And me, like I want to know that you have my best interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of projects that don't even that are never completed because, the producers or the director or whoever overspent uh because they don't understand it's so many moving parts, that comes into play when producing a film or a television project. If you don't understand them, you can fall flat and the project would never get completed. So for me, you gotta think ahead every step of the way and you have to be careful not to fall into those pitfalls.
Last question. You mentioned AI, and we've all, no matter what industry we work in, we've all had to embrace AI. Can you share how that has impacted your industry?
Oh man, that conversation could be a total full show in itself because
Okay.
AI has truly impacted our industry in a major way. From an editorial standpoint, just for example, we we're producing three documentaries right now One is complete, and we have two more that are in post-production, right? And with these documentaries, what happens is you have something that's called transcription, meaning that if I'm interviewing several people and I want to find a specific sentence or line or whatever, in the midst of these interviews, it would take a long time to go through and find it. And then you pay for transcription services to transcribe, everything that each person says, but even that takes time. But with AI, if I was interviewing you and you said something really important about addictive patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can just type addictive patterns and it will go directly to that sentence or that comment that you made, and I can pull that soundbite and utilize that in the documentary. That saves editors, tons of time. We had that technology before, quote unquote, the popularity of AI. I'll say that because AI has been around a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now with some of the additional tools that we have utilizing artificial intelligence, it makes our lives so much easier. You cut down on post-production time. I can pull scenes for BTS, behind the scenes stuff. I can pull, B-roll scenes. I can do all types of stuff where especially B-roll, if I need a scene of an African American couple walking a dog down the street, I can
Mm-hmm.
get that quickly.
Okay.
In the past, how hard it was to find an African American couple walking a dog down the street, unless I just go create it myself, So those are things, and then obviously the music, the talent, the this, the that. AI has just been utterly important to us in this business. And I know some people are afraid of it,
Yeah.
but I say embrace it. I like it, I love it. And so far it's been a great addition for me and my business.
Yes, definitely. I agree. I feel it has its downfalls, with anything. You definitely talked about addictive patterns. Yes, I need you all to type that in, plug it in. That's my book. But I always talk about, things that's positive or negative, those patterns, those things that we do in repeat or repetition. Movies is one of those things, watching movies. They've been around forever and a day. We used to hear about back in the day, it was what, 1 cent, 5 cents to go to the movie theaters to watch movies and to see how it just have evolved, how much it costs now to watch movies. But even better than that, when we talk about technology and how you can simply watch movies and stream in the comfort of your home. And then binge watching, that's a thing. That's an addiction. When we talk about addictive pattern, you could be addicted. You hear people all the time. I'm binge watching, Sometimes they forget to do what they supposed to do because they sitting and just trying to catch up on movies and TV series and sitcoms, etc. But is there anything else that you would like to share with us? Any final words?
I think you did a great job asking some amazing questions. Just excited to be going into a new year.
We
Excited about
definitely
what
here.
we're doing in business. Yeah, we're here. We're knocking on 26, right? And just excited about new projects, new things that we have happening as a company. So we're really excited.
Definitely. And again, it's been a pleasure meeting you all. And hopefully we can continue on as far as a business relationship moving forward into the 2026. And we would like to thank everyone
Absolutely.
for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to YouTube, iHeartRadio, as well as Spotify. You all have a good one. Hey.